All right. My name is Noelle Ellis, and my topic was the importance on family meals. My first article was called The Systematic Review of Effects of Family Meal Frequency on Psychosocial Outcomes in Youth. This is my reference citation, but the purpose of this article or this research study was to discuss or find the outcomes of family meals on children and adolescents in their later lives. It also discussed the differences in these outcomes among male and female children. Um, the research methods, this study was a systematic review that contained 14 different previously published articles or studies regarding family mealtime and adolescent well-being. 7 of these studies were longitudinal and 7 were cross-sectional, and all studies had to have been published within a peer-reviewed journal within the past year. So some of the findings from this study, their study showed a positive correlation between family mealtime, self-esteem, and school successes among young adolescents. Findings also show that there were a higher relationship between these variables and female children more than male, which I thought was very interesting. This study also showed issues with self-esteem. Lack of family mealtime was positively correlated with body image issues, disordered eating, academic achievement, and thoughts of depression. So some future recommendations for this study. A lot of these variables, such as disordered eating, could be triggered by things other than family meals. So maybe find a way to minimize outside explanations as a reasoning to why these variables are affected by a lack of family mealtime. Maybe also look into why females are more heavily impacted by less family mealtime than male children. And then my practical advice for consumers, making family mealtime should not only be a priority, but it's also a healthy and safe space for children. So allow children to make judgments on what to eat, how much they want to consume, and without being forced to consume it. So my second article title was called The Effects of Family Mealtime Practices on Household Inhabitants. Um, so the purpose of this article and research study, um, it was to discuss how family mealtimes can influence family dynamics and family units. This study looked at how many meals were eaten together, which meals were eaten together, and why families chose to eat or not to eat together. So the research methods for this study, 50 participants completed a survey about family meal times and the family unit as a whole. It was an electronic survey that contained 24 multiple choice questions regarding things such as environment of family meal times, demographic, the demographic of a family, and the frequency of a mealtime. So research findings, only 50% of participants consumed a meal with their family 7 or more times a week, and 24% were only 5 to 6 times. 14% of participants reported eating together as a family but with the TV on. 24% ate together but not at a table, and 14% ate at different times than their family. 96% of 96% of participants reported that mealtimes do positively contribute to their family unit. And then further research recommendations. The only recommendation I came up with for the study was for a bigger sample size and population next time, perhaps in a large city with busy work schedules for different types of families. And then practical advice for consumers. My advice is the same as before. Since family mealtime is this big of an impact for families, it should be prioritized, in my opinion. And then my last article was Family Meals with Young Children, an online study of family mealtime characteristics among Australian families with children aged 6 months to 6 years. So the purpose of this article or research study, it was to research and discuss the differences and similarities in family mealtime practices among different socioeconomic statuses in Australia. It was to see if mealtime dynamics vary with SES, and it analyzed families with children ranging from 6 months to 6 years old. So this study was an online survey completed by a sample of 992 parents regarding their mealtime. Questions included things such as frequency of mealtimes, duration and location of mealtimes, and the perceived importance of mealtimes by parents. So some of these findings were that a higher SES was positively correlated with a higher frequency of mealtimes and positively correlated with a higher amount of family members joining the mealtime. And then a higher SES was also positively correlated and associated with children being present at breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So overall, this study did indicate the importance of family meal times among these participants. Um, However, I did have some limitations, not necessarily recommendations for the study, but when reporting variables regarding SES, especially things such as meal times and dieting and food and nutrition, it is important to keep in mind that families with a lower socioeconomic status don't necessarily have the access to food and resources to make family mealtime a possibility every time. I didn't really see this talked about within this research study, and I thought that was definitely one of the most important aspects of this variable specifically. So my practical advice for consumers, it is the same as before that family mealtime should be a priority since evidence backs up how important and healthy they are for families. However, regarding this study in particular, it is important to keep in mind that it is not a possibility for all families. Environmental factors block this ability every single day. So, among all these articles, all of my findings showed that family mealtime did, in fact, positively impact a family unit and that it contributed to the well being of one or more people within the family. Some differences, however, they all studied slightly different aspects of what benefits and variables come with family mealtime.